Hey, what's up, everybody? Chicago Gooner here, bringing you another Arsenal talk. In this Arsenal talk, I'll be talking about the transfer window slamming shut, and of course, the signing of Danny Welbeck. Um, it's very concerning. Going through this transfer window, we started off so strong. Um, with Sanchez, then Debuchy, then Ospina, and then Callum Chambers, which was signed on July 28th. Now you really have to think of, what were we doing from July 28th to September 1st? There's a big gaping hole right in the middle of the park. It's very concerning when you even check, Arsenal.com. You look at our defenders, and we have 6 total defenders on the first team now. Now you have to think that at least one or two people from, uh, you know, whether it's from the youth academy is going to be promoted to the first team. I mean, you have to. I think Hector Berlin is going to be. He has to be because we can't have one player covering two positions, which is Callum Chambers, which is cover for the center half and now right back. And right now we have what, two players out. Koscielny's out right now with the head injury. I'm sure he'll be back and ready to go for the Manchester City game. He skipped the international. Ozil skipped the international as well because of injuries. Um, but right now, the healthy guys that we do have are Debuchy, Chambers, Mertesacker, and Monreal. I'm sure after the international break, Gibbs should be back because they said it's going to be like a 2 or 3 week process of him coming back, and of course that happened on the Crystal Palace game, on the season opener. Um, but again, July 28th to September 1st, they've had over a month to try to get in another center half and a proper DM. They had more than a month to do that, and they didn't do that. Instead, we signed another striker slash versatile player in Danny Welbeck instead. And of course, Arsenal, they'll make every excuse under the sun that they can make to try to calm the fans, but we shouldn't be calm at all. We should be furious about this, that a DM has not been brought in. We're going to have to wait until January now, possibly. We're going to have to suffer through the next, what is it, 4 or 5 months until we could probably bring someone in January. Um, just like with Giroud, we were one injury away of complete disaster. Now with the defenders, it's the same deal. We can't afford any injuries from this point forward um, because we just don't have the depth. Again, we're struggling with depth again. They had all the time in the world. They had all the money in the world. If you take the Welbeck signing, of course we spent £66 million up to this point. Plus you do the supposedly 16 million. It's 82 million pounds. We still had 18 to 20, 30, maybe possibly even 30 million pounds to spend. Of course, with all the exodus of players and the money that we got from those players, whether it was from Carlos Vela, that signing, Thomas Vermaelen, all those guys, you pile that into the kitty as well, and still nothing was done. And they're going to use every excuse under the sun. Well, this player was just too much money. This player didn't want to come. This player, blah blah blah. It's the same bullshit every transfer window. It seems like we have like a bunch of a bunch of monkeys sitting in the office at Arsenal trying to get transfers done. It's ridiculous. When you have the money to spend, you do it. You just don't. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit too much for. Fuck all that. When we have depth problems at, especially something that's an important thing like a DM or even a center half. even a right back. I mean, you better pray that Debuchy doesn't get hurt. That we're going to burn that kid out. We're going to burn him out pretty much. I mean, he's played every single game. He's played almost every minute this season so far, and we're going to burn him out. Plain and simple, we're going to burn him out, and we have no cover for him other than Chambers. So what if Mertesacker gets hurt for an extended amount of time? What if Koscielny gets hurt for an extended amount of time? What if Debuchy gets hurt at the same time? We have no cover. We're going to have Bellerin coming in possibly from the youth academy, and we're going to throw him into the fire. Of course, we have Jenkinson out on loan to West Ham. We have no cover whatsoever now in the defenders. And like I said, it was a little bit over 3 weeks ago. I think it was right as the Emirates Cup was being played, that once Mikel Arteta was named club captain, we were not going to get a DM. I was praying that I was going to be wrong on that we were going to bring in a DM, a proper DM, to man that position, like a Carvalho. And from what all the reports are saying, one report was saying that Carvalho said no to us, and other reports that said, all the reports, the majority of the reports saying that Arsenal wasn't just, they weren't prepared to pay what Sporting Lisbon wanted, which is ridiculous, I just don't know what to say. I mean, we're going to have another season of Arteta and Flamini as our DMs. If you just look at last year of how it was just a big gaping hole right in the middle of our defense, right in the middle of the park. We're not going to have fun again against a Chelsea or a Man City, even a Liverpool, even possibly, all those teams. Those teams scout us, and those teams can see, okay, we're weak right in the middle of the park. Let's attack that. And that's what they did last year. They attacked the middle of our park. And they won. We got our asses kicked. And it's going to same thing that happened. It's going to be the same thing this year again. Because we don't have a proper DM. We don't have a real DM. We don't have a force in the middle. I said last year when we lost to Stoke City, we lost the league. Right after that game. That's when we lost the league. And it sickens me that I have to say this now, that we lost the league today. We had every opportunity. We had over a month to get a proper DM or even cover for another center back to come in. Didn't happen. We lost the league today because we don't have a proper DM. Every other team has one. Chelsea has one. Chelsea has more than one. Man City has more than one. And we don't have a single DM, a proper DM that really scares anybody, that knows how to play that position. I mean, even if you look at Flamini against Leicester City, he was having problems. So it's a real concern. It's just, I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like the old man has lost his fucking mind, thinking that Arteta and Flamini can man those positions for a full season and do a good job of it, especially against those top teams, especially against Champions League teams. It's not going to happen. What's the ambition? I ask this question sometimes, like in my very first episodes. What's our ambition? Our ambition isn't to win the league. Our ambition isn't to win Champions League. When you don't fill your holes, when you don't fill the necessary holes in your squad, it doesn't show ambition. It doesn't show that you want to win the league. It really doesn't. It just shows that we're satisfied with top four, satisfied with just playing in the Champions League and getting that money, and that's it. Because you look at all the top teams, even in the Champions League, they have proper DMs. They have people that can man the middle of the park. that can cover for the back line, that can win headers, that can be a physical presence in the middle of the park. We don't have that. And for whatever reason, Arsene Wenger thinks that we don't need it. He's lost his fucking mind. Other than striker, the DM spot was the most important position that we needed to fill in this transfer window. And Ivan Gazidis, he looks like a fucking idiot right now because there is even video footage of him saying that we will sign a defensive midfielder in this window. That's just the blind leading the blind. And I feel sorry for all the fans that paid the amount of money to go see them play. Whether it's in the Premier League games, FA Cup games, Champions League games, I feel sorry for those people that they have to pay those type of ticket prices. But yet we're having mediocre talent within Arsenal. So that's what Arteta is, that's what Flammy is. They're mediocre. In that position, they're mediocre, they're average. This is Arsenal Football Club. We're supposed to be one of the best and biggest in the world. But yet we have mediocre talent. But like I said, we're not winning the league this year. I'm just saying that right now. I thought if we bring in a proper DM, we will challenge and we might even win the league this year. We're not going to. We're going to finish third or fourth. That's it. So get it out of your minds that we're going to even win. We even have a chance, because we don't. And you're going to see that in the next 2 weeks when we play Man City, when they attack us right in the middle. You're going to see it when we play Chelsea in October. They're going to attack us right in the middle. And again, who knows? Who knows what might happen? Who knows how many goals that they're going to score against us this year? It's an embarrassment. It really is an embarrassment. I understand Arsene Wenger. He's loyal to his players. That's a good quality to have. But at the same time, do you want to win the league? Do you want to win Champions League? Do you want more trophies other than the FA Cup? It's not shown in this transfer window. They started off so strong, and we had so much hope that they were going to do everything right this time. But again, no, didn't do it. But let's get on to the Danny Welbeck signing. Of course, a lot of Arsenal fans, we saw him outside the stadium, cheer when they said that Sky Sports, while they were out there saying that the deal was dead at one point, that Danny Welbeck wasn't coming to Arsenal, and the fans cheered. I mean, it was kind of embarrassing. It really was. And even on Twitter, you see a lot of fans saying Danny Welbeck, and you're giving them stick. I mean, I see it all the time here, being in the United States, where a certain player gets so much hype. Whether it be football, basketball, baseball, they get so much hype, so much pressure put on them, saying that they're, one of the next big things, they're one of the next great players. And of course, that's going to happen when you play for a Manchester United or a Arsenal or a Chelsea or a Liverpool, or name any of the top clubs, name any of the top clubs in the world. When a certain player comes up through the ranks, and Danny Welbeck had that kind of pressure put on him right from the get-go, almost. That especially being an English player, you're going to have so much pressure be put on you, even before you even step on the pitch to play. But when you look at this signing, I see it all the time in the United States, where players get so much pressure put on them, and they fail. They're not as good as you thought they would be. But then sometimes they move on. They move to a different team. They move to a different situation. Of course, going from Manchester United to Arsenal, there's not much of a difference there as far as pressure goes, or being in the spotlight, especially coming to London, the capital. but maybe that's what he needs. Maybe that's what Danny Welbeck needs, um, is just a new change of scenery, a new team. Um, Maybe more like a manager who actually has confidence in him that he can play. Um, it seems like more and more that Danny Welbeck will be a striker more than a winner. A lot of times he played on the wing for Manchester United rather than up top, because they only played most of the time with a single striker up top. So he didn't really have much of an opportunity to show his skills off um, at the striker position. And the one thing I didn't realize about Danny Welbeck, he's been around for so long. It seems like that. I thought he was way older than he is. He's only 23 years old right now. He'll be 24 in November. November 26th is when his birthday is. He's 6'1". Of course, he's a forward winner. Um, I was kind of shocked by his age. I thought he was like in that 26 range or something. Because he's just been around for forever now. It seems like. So I was kind of shocked that he was only 23 years old. He has yet to reach, the prime number for a player to, reach his prime is around the 25 range. Usually their prime is between the 25 and 30 range. That's when a player reaches his prime. He has yet to reach his prime. He still has another year to go. The one thing I like about the Danny Welbeck signing is it's a permanent signing. It's not a loan move. The fact that last year that we had a couple loan moves and Kim Källström, and then the Italian goalkeeper Viviano. I don't get why a big club like Arsenal would even do loan moves. Maybe in January, maybe you could maybe understand it, but the one thing I like is that it's a permanent move. It's not a loan move, because a loan move, you just never know. You never know. A player might be disgruntled and just say, screw it, I'm just going to go half-ass on this one. I know I'm going to get paid anyway, and then I know I'm going to go back to my main club afterwards. So you don't know if he's going to play to the best of his ability. You don't know if he's going to be playing at 100% every single game when he's on a loan move. But it's supposed to be $16 million pounds, and it's supposed to be a permanent move, which I like, because then now he can just put Manchester United in the rearview mirror and think about Arsenal and just play for Arsenal, and that's it. He doesn't have to worry about going back to Manchester United. He doesn't have to worry that, am I going to have a spot in the team, or am I going to be on the move next season, the next transfer window. So it's a permanent move, so you're going to get everything that he has, hopefully. Going on to some of his stats. Last year he had 36 appearances, he had 10 goals. The best goal output season he's had was in the 11 and 12 season. He had 39 appearances and 12 goals. He had 25 league appearances last year and 9 goals. So he got most of his goals in the league last year. In the FA Cup, he only had 1 appearance. The League Cup, he had 4 appearances. In Champions League, he had 5 appearances and 1 goal. And he had scored in Champions League. I mean, the season before that, in the 12 and 13 season, I believe, he scored a goal against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. So he has Champions League experience. He has, of course, big club experience, of course, coming from Manchester United. A lot of people are, they're saying, well, why Arsenal fans are trying to convince themselves that this is a good signing. When Daniel Sturridge was sent over from Chelsea to Liverpool fans were like, who the hell is this guy? I mean, why is he coming to Liverpool? Why do we even need him? Why are we wasting our money on him? He's their best player right now, currently on that team. He was their second best player last year. Finished, second in goals, in total goals, last year in the Premier League. Only to, his partner, the biter. And now Liverpool fans are, they're up in arms. They love him. So could Danny Welbeck be another type of Daniel Sturridge-esque signing? Can Danny Welbeck, turn the page on Manchester United, forget about them, put them in the rearview mirror, and just think about Arsenal and playing? It's very possible because he's going to have every opportunity to do that. He's going to have every opportunity to play up front. He's got pace, he has skill, he has some technical ability. But again, when you don't get the proper amount of games at a certain position, when you're being flopped around all the time, sometimes it's difficult. Just like with Daniel Sturridge, he was playing on the wing at Chelsea. That's what he was mainly playing as a winger. He wasn't playing as a striker. Liverpool makes him a striker, and all of a sudden he's arguably one of the best strikers in the English Premier League right now. Can Danny Welbeck be the same type of player? Can he turn the page? He has the pace, he has a skill. He just needs to put it together. He needs to realize his potential. And maybe this move will make him and everybody else realize it. Because the potential's there. You have the pace, you have the skill. If you look at Manchester United over the last maybe 2 years, even this year, Fletcher and Mata, you can't compare them to Ozil and Ramsey. Ozil and Ramsey, especially if we put everything in and we get the tactics right, we get the formation back that we want in that 4-2-3-1. You're going to have Ozil and Ramsey feeding you the ball all day long. And then you're going to have guys like, and then you're going to have winners like Sanchez and Walcott feeding you as well. Another great thing about Danny Welbeck, he has that pace to get behind defenses. Something that we don't have with Giroud or Sanogo. He has that pace. And he's a big boy. He's 6'1". He can go up for headers. He's great in the air. A lot of his goals, especially for Manchester United, a lot of his important goals were headers. And of course, Arsene Wenger loves those guys now. Those big, pacey strikers. So it could be a positive. Instead of everybody giving him stick and saying, "Oh my God, Danny Welbeck," give the kid a chance first. Let him put an Arsenal shirt on. And I hope he proves everybody wrong. So that everybody on Twitter and everybody that's saying, why are we signing this guy? I hope he proves them wrong. I hope he comes in with a chip on his shoulder and he proves everybody wrong. Because I think he can. I think, obviously he has the tools to do it. Because even if you look at, guys like Walcott and Sanchez, Sanchez is obviously a decent crosser of the ball. Walcott has kind of made a little bit of a living off of it. He's a great crosser of the ball. And of course you put a big physical, a big striker like right in the middle there who's good in the air, who can get up, who has, good vertical. This could potentially be a really great signing for us. But again, it's up to the player to put in the work. And he has a good work rate. There's no denying Welbeck's work rate. When you put all those pieces together, when you have a guy like Ozil instead of Mata, when you have a guy like Ramsey instead of fucking Fletcher, trying to feed him the ball, it would really be difficult to stomach that he'll fail here. So I think it's a great signing. I think, for £16 million too. He's an English player. For £16 million, that's almost a steal. You look at other English players that have signed, through the years, and all their price tags are inflated. Is this price tag inflated? Yeah, possibly. If they sold him, overseas or something, he might be going for like 10 or 12. But of course, it's an English player, so you're going to get a slightly inflated. But £16 million for Danny Welbeck, that's that's kind of a steal, in my opinion. So I think if, like I said, if he just puts everything behind him, If he forgets everything that happened at Manchester United, the lack of games, the lack of opportunities to play at striker, the lack of confidence, obviously, from David Moyes to now Louis van Gaal. Maybe we can, maybe Arsene Wenger can get the full potential out of Danny Welbeck of what everybody thought he was going to be. But we have to give him a chance first. We can't just say, oh, fuck him. This is terrible. Of course we all wanted a center half. Of course we all wanted a defensive midfielder. But again, we're short at striker right now. So potentially, let's give him a chance. I mean, the potential's there, but we just have to give him a chance instead of giving him stick. Instead of screaming, all those fans outside of the Emirates. I mean, that was embarrassing. And they should be ashamed of themselves, Unless he turns out like a guy like Nicholas Bender who says some shitty things about the club while he's in an Arsenal shirt. You can't really see Danny Welbeck doing that type of stuff. So you got to give him a chance first. Let him get him in the shirt. Let him play some games before you make any type of conclusion about him. So I think it's a great signing. That's just my opinion. Going on to something else right now that just irritates the living shit out of me. I should have covered it early on, but Arsene Wenger going to Italy, Rome, to referee a charity match. Maybe I shouldn't talk about this, but I mean, because it's a charity match, to help any type of charity out, this is the worst possible time to even do that on transfer deadline day. He kind of, escapes everything. So he doesn't have to deal with, the potential outcry from fans or even the media because we didn't sign who we were supposed to sign. It's kind of ridiculous that your manager is skipping town on one of the more important days of the year. It's kind of concerning that, it's like, well, what are you doing? Why are you in Rome doing a charity event when you should be in London trying to get business done? I think honestly, our business was done on July 28th. This Welbeck signing is what it is. I mean, it is a panic buy because of Giroud getting injured, and then Sonogo not performing as he should, or as Arsene Wenger thought he should. So this is definitely a panic buy. I mean, it's a good panic buy. But why is he skipping town on one of the more important days when business should be done, when business should come first? I'm sure we're going to hear all the same kind of crap that we've heard for the last, 9 or 10 years about the transfer window, about, well, this player cost too much, they wanted too much money, and we had the fucking money. If we had £100 million, and if you add on, all the other sales that we did, we had probably around maybe £120 million to spend. You have Cesc Fabregas sitting over at the bridge laughing his ass off right now, who would have only cost £24 million. But now he's sitting at the bridge laughing his ass off, and that's why that's why we didn't get him, because we were promised, oh, don't worry, we're going to be signing all the players that we need this summer. I would take Cesc Fabregas over Arteta and Flamini all damn day, and Cesc would have probably played that position if he was asked to. But we didn't want to shell out the money. We didn't want him. When Arsenal makes promises, I said this right in the beginning of the day, if whoever's on the Arsenal media watch on Twitter, we're not getting them. Of course, Falcao's name was right on there. And, Arsenal didn't want to pay his wages. We didn't want to pay the loan move and, of course, the permanent move for Falcao. Of course, everybody's up in arms with that because we needed a world-class striker. But, who knows? Maybe they're looking at his previous injury. Maybe they're looking at his age. He's 28 years old. He'll be 29 during the season. But again, we're letting players go somewhere else to strengthen them up while we're not strengthening at the right positions. So it's concerning when you have the manager, the boss, as they say, skipping town when we need to get business done. And let's not forget, let's not only blame Arsene Wenger for the shit show that was after July 28th, but we have to put some emphasis and blame on Ivan Gazidis and the rest of the Arsenal board. And of course ownership for not doing what they were supposed to do. But this will be the end of this Arsenal talk. And let me know your comments, what you thought about today, what you thought about the entire transfer window. Could we have done better? I think the obvious answer is yes. But let's hear your comments. Let's if you need a room to vent, other than Twitter, leave your comments down below. It's always good to vent out. It makes you feel a little bit better at the end of the day.